Welcome to this Candle Shack video. Today I'm going to be talking about the CLP labelling requirements for mixtures, which include scented candles, wax melts and reed diffusers. From the 1st of June 2015, these products and hundreds more will need to be compliant with CLP legislation. The legislation itself is quite complex, and its implementation will evolve over the coming months and years, by which time acceptable implementation of the law should become more clear. Whilst we don't claim to have all the answers right now, we feel obliged to share our interpretation and processes in order to help our customers make good decisions and hopefully avoid any legal issues. I hope you enjoy the video. So let's take a look at the main components on a CLP label. The first element is the product name or identifier, which can be seen here. It's very important that this matches the identifier shown in the safety data sheet. The second element on the label is the signal word, as can be shown here. It is usually danger or warning. In the case of candles, it will almost always be warning. The third element on a CLP label are the hazard pictograms. There are 9 of these in total under CLP, although only 3 are usually used for home fragrance products. When on labels, these should be an absolute minimum of 10mm by 10mm and ideally 16mm. The next element are the hazard statements. There are over 70 of these in total, and they encompass physical, health and environmental hazards. Hazards is an important word because CLP doesn't describe risks, that's down to the user. The aim of CLP is to communicate the hazards inherent within the product, enabling the user to make an informed decision on the risks. The next element is the precautionary or P statements. These indicate important safety measures for the recipient of the product. There are over 100 of these in total. The final piece of label information is the supplier identification, as can be seen here. This is very important. Imagine just for a moment that someone was to accidentally drink a reed diffuser and went to hospital. The hospital may need more information on the ingredients, which may not be present on the safety label. Therefore, being able to contact the supplier is very important. Okay, so now that we know the 6 elements of the CLP label, let's see where we can find them. We're making them available on our website. If you browse to fragrances, and if you choose any one of our fragrances once these safety data sheets are uploaded, so let's choose Casablanca Sunrise as an example. If you scroll down within the description until you get to a section called Safety Data Sheets, there will be a number of safety data sheets on there. There are 3 in this example, one for the fragrance oil, one for the candle, and one for a reed diffuser. Let's take a look in more detail at the candle safety data sheet. This one is for Casablanca Sunrise, 10% fragrance loading. Onto section 2, which identifies hazards, you'll see some of the label elements that we discussed earlier in the video, such as the signal word, hazard statements, precautionary statements, and pictograms. The name of the product is also on this safety data sheet. On this candle safety data sheet, you will see supplemental information under section 2. This is obligatory information that, although not specifically called upon by CLP, is required on CLP labels. Interestingly, this information is not present on the raw perfume safety data sheet, as the pictograms and H statements already communicate the hazard. It is complexities like this that makes creating safety data sheets or CLP labels for candles and diffusers extremely difficult without using approved software. It can be done, of course, but a very deep knowledge of the rules is required to have any chance of success. This is why we have spent the time creating candle and diffuser safety data sheets for all of our oils. Let's take a look at 2 examples. Firstly, we will consider a CLP label for a perfume oil. Here we have Casablanca Sunrise, the safety data sheet. If we scroll down to section 2 on our safety data sheet under section 2.2, we can see once again the label elements that are required for this label. We have a signal word, which has been transferred onto the label. We have a number of hazard statements, as can be seen in this case there's 4. Once again, you can see these have been put onto the safety label. We've got our precautionary statements. There's quite a few of these, and again, all of them have in this instance been put onto the CLP label. You can also see in the safety data sheet that there is no supplemental information, as just mentioned, for the raw material, because the risks are already covered by the pictograms and hazard statements. And then obviously we have the 3 pictograms in this case. These are the 3 pictograms that you would expect to see on home fragrance products. The aspiration hazard, or the respiratory hazard, doesn't apply to solid materials, so wouldn't be used for candles. And once again, at the bottom of the label, you can see the supplier's identification. And there's the product identifier at the top of the safety data sheet, which is Casablanca Sunrise Perfume Oil. Okay, let's take a look at a second example, this time for a candle fragranced at 10% with Casablanca Sunrise, the oil we've just looked at. As you can see, the product identifier is just taken directly from the product straight over onto the CLP label, and in this instance we've put a product identifier on there, which could also be a barcode. Under section 2.2 you can see there's no signal word, there's no warning or danger, so it's a fairly low risk product. There's a single hazard statement, which is the environmental type. There's also 2 precautionary statements which can be put on, and these can obviously be tailored as required. The H statements are mandated, but precautionary statements are as applicable. There's no pictograms on this particular label, which is good for our packaging. However, as mentioned previously, there is some supplemental information which deals with sensitizers that can create an allergic reaction, and these are obligatory and must be on the product. And this is why. So here you can see H361 is one of the more serious pictograms required, or one of the more serious hazard warnings, and just by having even a small percentage of that particular material in the product gives rise to this obligatory supplementary information. And of course there is our contact details at the base. And finally, one last thing that's worth mentioning is the safety data sheet itself. If you're going to be providing products onto hotels or indeed larger retailers, there's a reasonable chance that they will request a safety data sheet under CLP to be sent with their products. The safety data sheet for the candle or the diffuser can be downloaded from our website for all of our fragrances, and if you just change the name to your own, we're basically saying that this safety data sheet will cover you both for CLP labels but also for the safety data sheet for your products, so that you can send them on to your customers. I hope this video has clarified the components of a CLP label and where to find the information on our website. We hope that other fragrance suppliers will follow suit and make this information available too. We will finish uploading safety data sheets for candles and diffusers at various concentrations onto our website in the coming days. This will enable you to create CLP compliant labels for any products that use our fragrances. Information on label sizes and exemptions for small products can be found on the European Chemical Agency website, the ECHA, or indeed on the UK's HSE website. Pictograms are also freely available to download online. Should you not have the ability to create labels in-house, we will be offering a label printing service which can include your branding and all CLP information for your products. Please contact us for further details if this is of interest.